It's actually just one of those backgrounds that you can change. Yeah. Yes. There's a beach. There's a beach background. It's nice. Yep. Yep.
I remember the beach one, but I don't remember the one you've got behind you.
I think they just
Good. Okay. I think we're all
I'm
here.
good. We get last round.
Yep. Ben, can you hear me? I think we're ready to start. Good morning. This meeting will come to order. Welcome to the virtual October 19th, 2020 special meeting of the West Hartford Pension Board. My name is Nancy Dean, and I am chair of the board. Because in-person attendance at public meetings is likely to increase the risk of transmission of COVID-19, this meeting is being conducted in accordance with Governor Lamont's Executive Order Number 7B, which permits municipalities to conduct public meetings virtually. Members of the board and some town staff are participating and I am chair of the board. And members of the public can view the meeting live on West Hartford Community Television or on West Hartford Community Interactive Comcast Channel 5 and Frontier TV Channel 6098 or at www.whctv.org. The meeting is also being recorded for on-demand viewing, which will be available on the town's website. Because of the virtual format, there are some special rules and procedures that I need to cover before we begin. First, I ask all participants to please mute your devices when you are not speaking. If you wish to be recognized, please raise your hand and I will call on you in the order I see hands go up. If you are participating in audio only or I do not call on you, the debate is ending, then please unmute your phone and let me know so that I can recognize you. First, Lori Carney will be assisting me in this regard. Second, main motions will be made by me and no second is necessary. We will proceed immediately to debate. These include motions to adopt, receive, or approve business items. Subsidiary motions still require a second. These include motions to amend. A member must be recognized before making a subsidiary motion, but any member can second a motion just by unmuting their line and saying proceed immediately to debate. Third, pursuant to Executive Order Number 7B, all speakers must state their name and title each time that they speak. Fourth, because of the difficulty in tallying voice votes on video conference, I will require that all votes be taken by roll, and Lori Carney will be assisting me in just that. Fifth, a reminder that if any participant has a problem with your connection, you should immediately call Lori. She will let me know, and we will recess the meeting while the problem is resolved. Because it cannot be resolved quickly, we will ask you to call into the meeting using a phone and participate by audio only. Because of this new format, I want to thank everyone in advance for their patience as we learn from this experience. Even though it looks like I'm reading this, I think I've memorized this. We'll talk prior meetings. But now I will ask Lori to please call the roll. Lori, I will ask you to
Okay.
call in.
If you could just identify when I call your name that you are in attendance. Nancy Dean,
Present.
Lazaro Guzman,
Present.
Even though it looks like I'm
Alan
reading
LeBeau,
this, I think I've memorized this. We'll talk
Present.
prior to recess the meeting.
Brittany
Now
Birmingham.
I will ask Lori to please call the roll.
Present.
Lori,
Peter Privatera. If you could just identify when I call your name. Sherry Cantor, in attendance. Nancy Dean,
present.
Matt Hart, Lazaro Guzman,
Present.
Chris Kachmar,
Present, good morning.
Present.
Rick Ledwith, Brittany Birmingham,
Here. Good morning.
Lee Gold, Peter Privatera. If you just identify when I call your name. Sherry Cantor, in attendance. Nancy Dean, Matt Hart, Lazaro Guzman, and I know Jennifer Evans is on. I'll call her, but I don't think she'll respond. Jennifer, Rick Ledwith, okay. Brittany Birmingham,
Here. Good morning.
Lee Gold. You're good to go, Nancy.
Thank you. And I see that Matt has joined.
Paula Kanaki.
Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Matt.
We have a relatively
And
brief
I
agenda
know
this
Jennifer
morning, and I
Evans
know
is
we also
on.
have some
I'll
folks
call
who
her, but I
have
don't think she'll
time,
respond.
so we'll
Jennifer.
proceed directly to
Here.
Peter's report as Director of
You're
Finance.
good to
Peter?
go, Nancy.
Thank you. Peter Privatera, Finance Director for the town.
Good morning, Matt.
I was going to speak about our status on the POBs real quick.
I'll call her, but I
We've
don't think she'll
been
respond.
working on some other issues, and we have a little more work to do on the POBs.
Nancy.
For the last roughly 3 to 4 weeks, we've been working on a couple of bond refundings for the town, which we're going to execute on Wednesday. 2 of them actually, one a non-taxable and one we're going to be refunding non-taxable bonds with taxable bonds at forward refunding. So been doing some work on those. So as it stands right now, we're going to push ahead with the POBs as soon as we get these transactions completed. So I'm hoping that I'll have more information for the board at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Any early inclination as to what the rates are going to be on Wednesday?
Well, on the taxable bonds, I'm assuming they're going to be below 3%. probably in the mid twos. On the taxable bonds, the rates are really low. We just saw some sales go through where one town received like a 1.57 rate, I think, on a 15-year bond. It was very low. So it's a very good time for us to execute these refundings because we're going to save the town combined with the two refundings probably $1 and a quarter dollars between this year and next year. So it's
a good day's work, Peter, right?
Excuse me, it's a day's work.
It's a good day's work, right?
So yeah, it's a little more than a day's work, but it's not good. It's good.
All right, sounds good. All right, thank you very much. Chris, we can turn to your presentation then, please.
Great. Good morning, Ms. Chairwoman and everyone else. I trust everyone has access to the short slide deck that we had sent around on Friday afternoon. You should have that. We can use it as a rough guidepost just for what's gone on recently. I think really the story for the quarter, the early story and preview for the quarter, that it was largely for the first 2 months anyways, was more of the same. In that there was, pretty persistent appetite for risk, equity markets moving higher, areas within fixed income where there's spread increments moving higher, demand for yield, and kind of the trends that we had seen in place now for quite some time. I suppose just the pandemic activity aside in March, whereby U.S. stocks doing a little bit better, large cap growth stocks, the glamour tech stocks leading the way. Those trends were largely in place through the summer. In September, in the materials that we forwarded to the board that you'll see if you jump ahead to page 5, in September there was a little bit of a drawback. And markets did take pause, and they took pause for reasons that I think we can probably all have memorized now, right? And that's concerns around flares up on the healthcare front, certainly, and then delays and some back and forth, I suppose, on the Washington front with stimulus and the next wave of stimulus. So those things gave investors a little bit of pause. Markets in October, while we don't show the data here, were stabilized a bit and have begun to move a little bit higher as well. So all in all, a solid quarter, as we'll see momentarily, but as noted here, and if you were to look through all the data on page 5, it was a down month for capital markets in September. Visually, you see that on page 6. We don't need to spend a ton of time on this page, but you'll see in the upper left-hand corner the price response for the S&P 500. If you were to highlight and then look at the there, just the pattern we just talked about. Peter just made a reference to it, I think, in the upper right-hand corner of the page. Extraordinarily low base interest rates still, which continues to drive activity in the fixed income markets. And an expectation, I think since the last time we met, many of you, I think, know this, the Fed has been pretty adamant that they will be flexible with their views on inflation going forward. And that's the market kind of sensing that the long-standing target of 2% inflation that the Fed has talked about is something that they may let run a little bit north of that, just given the circumstances in the market. So certainly our expectation is interest rates continue to remain very, very low. If you jump ahead to page 7, you'll see the portfolio at the end of September, $225.7 million. So kind of that continued recovery. If you remember back in the March timeframe at the end of the first quarter, the portfolio had dipped down to about $193.5 million. So we've had north of $32 million of gains in a relatively short period of time, which obviously is comforting. And we'll show you the details momentarily. You'll remember at your last meeting, you had approved some rebalancing, executed on that rebalancing, working with the town. And as you can see now, the portfolio is largely aligned with its target, its strategic weights. So I think we're in pretty good working order from both the allocation perspective and at the individual manager level. From a performance standpoint, an inline quarter essentially. On the top of page 8, the portfolio is up about 5.5% in the quarter. Year to date, a calendar year to date, running at about 3.7%. And it is kind of interesting to us with just an unprecedented set of circumstances and volatility, a 1-year number, all things considered, still right, that's close to 10%. It does speak to, I think, a little bit the market's resiliency. And I think that's a kind of an attribute that we've all talked about and maybe consumed, but it is pretty amazing what's going on around the world. It's the landscape for investing. You see still a basically a double-digit number thereabouts over the last year is I guess speaks to the testament of being kind of disciplined and diversified and staying the course as best you can. So I think we're in pretty good working order on the portfolio front. The only thing that we would mention as we come into the end of the year, again, something you've probably also read about, this idea that volatility is likely to remain elevated. Is a sentiment that we share. Certainly there's factors in place that would suggest that markets will continue to bounce around here a little bit. The nature of the election cycle perhaps being maybe the biggest contributor to some of that volatility. But the undercurrent in terms of what looks to be this week, some progress on the stimulus front, wave 2 of some material stimulus. And moreover, the earnings season, by and large, has been reasonably strong and solid, which may also kind of serve as somewhat of tailwinds to markets and provide a modicum of stability, anyways, against that election noise. So I think we're in pretty good working order there. The last thing I would mention to the board, just as a wrap up, and then happy to take questions, of course. If you jump ahead to page 12, you'll see we just provide the visual, the rebalancing spreadsheet we used with Peter and was executed, as you see, back in September. So the portfolio was no surprise, right? Given the ramp up in risk assets, was nominally overweight equities. We trimmed some of that overweight and deployed back into fixed income just to maintain that portfolio discipline that we've talked about in the past. That, Ms. Chairwoman, that's all I had in the way of a formal update. I'm happy to take questions from the board, of course.
Thank you, Chris. Anyone have any questions for Chris at this point? No? Okay, hearing none. I would say we'll have a full presentation in November for the November meeting. Chris, is that?
That's correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And we will now move on to Brittany. Do you have any report from the town matters perspective?
Did you say my name, Nancy?
Yes, I did. I guess I didn't.
Oh, I don't have a report at this time.
Okay, thank you. Rick, I think Rick is on the call. Is that right?
Morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rick.
Morning.
I think you have the meeting, our one remaining meeting of 2020 is for November 16th, I believe. And I did check with the town clerk's office, or Lori did last week, regarding our establishing the schedule for 2021. I think that they're still working on some of the logistics there. Is that right, Lori?
Right. Their office usually sends out a calendar to start scheduling for 2021. And Cindy Perini said that she hopes to have it out, I think, by this week. And so then I'll reserve time and space, provide that and then we'll review it at the November meeting, and then I can provide it to town clerk.
Okay, great. All right. Let's look for that. Any other comments in that regard, Rick, from your perspective?
Nope. Thank you.
Schedule? Okay, thank you. Then we'll move into the formal action section of the meeting. We have the minutes of our meeting of Monday, September 14th, 2020. I will make a motion to approve those minutes for the virtual regular meeting on Monday, September 14th, 2020. All those in favor, please say aye. Lori?
Sure. Lazaro? Lazaro?
Did we lose him?
Looks like, oh no, I see him. Well, I'll move on and go back.
Move on.
Alan?
Aye.
Brittany?
I wasn't there, so I don't know if should I vote?
No.
You can abstain.
You should abstain.
I'll be abstaining.
Peter?
Yes.
Lazaro?
Aye.
Okay. And Nancy?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. We then have our section on pension administration matters. I did want to ask Rick if he had any comments relative to the information that was passed along to us prior to our taking a vote.
I do. Thank you. On page 7B1, we're going to remove 2 new members from that page. You'll notice Blanchard at the top and Nilsson about halfway down. They're both part-time employees who moved to full-time Board of Education employees. So payroll started taking pension contributions immediately, but they should have waited 90 days prior to admitting these two folks to the plan. So we're going to refund the contributions to the members and readmit them to the plan after 90 days.
Okay. So should we ask for an updated schedule for the package here, or how would that work?
Well, we could either vote on all the members except Blanchard and Nilsson, or not vote on membership, and I can submit it for November.
What's easiest for you administratively?
Well, even probably just holding on the vote on the membership, and then providing the list at November's meeting.
Okay, to add it in. All right. Does anyone have any other questions relative to this particular schedule before we move forward? No. Okay. Thank you, Rick.
You're welcome.
Any other comments on the information that was included here?
Now, everything else was pretty standard. A couple of non-vested withdrawals, and then our normal retirements for this month.
All right.
Everything was pretty standard.
Okay. Then I will make a motion to approve pension administration as reviewed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Lazaro?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Brittany?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
And Nancy?
Aye.
And that's to approve the terminations and refunds and applications for retirement, and holding on the memberships for next month.
Thank you for that clarification. We have no invoices to approve for this particular period. I would now ask if anyone has any new business they would like to bring to the order of the day. Anyone that I can't see that's on the phone? Ms. Mayer or Mr. Gold?
No new business. I would just, this is Sherry, Mayor. What I'd just like to say is that town staff is doing some education for the council and doing some outreach on the POV. So we are looking at that, and we're doing outreach and education. So we're all up to date on what that means, and then we will come back to you, hopefully in the not too distant future.
Good. Thank you.
And through you, Ms. Dean, it's Lee Gold. I just want to thank you for the information. I have nothing at this time.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. then it looks like that we are having one of our shortest meetings ever on record. So I will call for a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Nancy.
Who's
I'm sorry,
speaking?
before
Oh, Alan,
we adjourn,
yes. Pardon?
this is Al Lebo, a pension board member. Peter, I just, could you give us a little bit more information about what's going on with the pension obligation bonds? I mean, you said we're pushing ahead, but could you explain a little bit more about what's happening?
Sure. Excuse me. Pete Privatera, Finance. I think, as the mayor said, you know, we've been a little busy this month with refundings, but now that we're going to be executing those refundings this week, now we're going to push ahead with you know, starting to you know, educate the council and probably the community on what they mean and the purpose of them. So I think that's what the gist of this was. I mean, we have the model. We've met with Becky and Becky Seelman, our external actuary, and we understand how it works. But we need to make sure that everyone understands the impact of this now, or we really push ahead and meetings with representatives from the state, and so that's where we are right now. We have what we need now. It's just a question of making sure everyone understands the impact of this and why we're doing it.
Is there any kind of timing calendar you have in mind?
That would be up to the town council, town manager, and the town council as to you know, how quickly or when the target date would be to execute these.
Alan, I think that we would be the first half of 21 would be reasonable, but right now it's really a matter of educating people and having them understand the up-to-date remodeled numbers that we have now, and understanding the dynamic with the opportunities that we have with record low interest rates. So that's really now the job of town staff to educate the governing body so they can make a decision. So, and then it will probably be, I would say, early 21, hopefully, that would be something that would be on our agenda.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Alan, and also for the update, Peter. Any other questions before I will recall our motion to adjourn? Okay, thank you. Then I will make a motion to adjourn. All those in favor, I will turn over to Lori to do her roll call one final time this morning.
Okay. Lazaro?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Brittany?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
And Nancy?
Aye. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, everyone. We'll see you November 16th. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good day.